Reiki Healing, an ancient Japanese practice, channels the unseen energy that flows through us all to promote balance and wellness. Through gentle touch and focused intention, practitioners unlock the body's natural healing capabilities, offering a path to inner peace and holistic well-being.
There are so many different types of Reiki. There are so many different strands, and I think you have to find the type that resonates most for you.
If they're in a relaxed place, then the whole body is in a parasympathetic place, and that's where healing can happen.
It's really hard to fully explain what Reiki is until you actually feel it. From a very young age, I have always been introduced in the family that I grew up in spirituality. My grandfather was a very shrewd businessman. He came from India very early on, and he built his business here in the UK. But he was very interested in Vedic astrology and stones. So he would tell people and read their palms as well and say, you need to wear this stone and this stone, and very much into sort of meditation. So I grew up in that. I was raised in a Hindu family. My godparents are Irish Catholics. I went to church, also went to a Catholic school. So religion was a big part, but I was never forced to be religious, if that makes sense. It was more open. So growing up, I was sort of introduced into having all of that around me. But in 2004, I went through a very hard time in my life. I was on the floor, didn't want to live. It was an end game for me. So I knew that if I can be alive and I can be strong and who I am today, anyone can do it. Because I was literally in such a bad place that for me there was just darkness, there was no light. That was when I realized that something has to change. I can't carry on like this. And I can't explain what it was, but something changed within me. And that's when I went out seeking for more things that would help me, should I say.
Well, I've always really been interested in energy work. When I was young, coming from a Roma gypsy family, we had a lot of healers around, and we played cards. I remember whenever I was ill, we'd have a lady come round and rub me in whiskey and all sorts of things. So I was really quite interested in this healing method. And then I started working with dance, and I started practicing more meditation. And I heard about Reiki when I was maybe in my early 20s. I just thought, this is really interesting. I'd like to learn more about it. But again, I left it because I had such a busy life. And it was only in the last 5-6 years that I actually became a Reiki practitioner, and I wanted to know more. I wanted to know about these meridians and energy and how it worked in the body. So I decided to study acupuncture and Chinese medicine.
I was already interested in spirituality, and I basically decided, I read up about this thing called Reiki and liked the idea of being able to channel energy. You sometimes feel you have to be gifted in order to somehow heal, and there's this kind of story that's told that you are special and have an ability. So I thought, I can get involved in this, maybe help myself and help some other people. So subsequently, I ended up taking a course in Reiki. And then from there, I just started to kind of dig a little bit deeper because I really was interested in the cultural roots of Reiki. There's always something we can improve on, and we're always growing, and it really is a path of growth. And I've definitely noticed that with myself, from where I began to where I am now. The energy and how it's affected me and how I respond to other people and interact with life is totally different to when I first started.
The root chakra, or Muladhara, is located at the base of the spine. It is associated with the color red and governs our sense of stability, security, and our most basic needs, such as food, water, shelter, and safety. This chakra forms the foundation of our energy system and is linked to our survival instincts and physical identity. When balanced, it provides a sense of grounding and confidence. However, if it's blocked, one might feel anxious, insecure, or disconnected from reality.
Reiki is life force energy, and Reiki is life force energy that we then transfer through the hands. So it's hands-on, hands-off energy. In terms of how we do Reiki, we look at the 7 main chakras. If you're not quite sure about chakras are energy fields. It's almost like saying they're like invisible muscles. So what Reiki does, the energy field that we're sending the Reiki through, which is the life force energy, is interacting with your energy field. So it's my energy that I'm sending, the energy that I'm sending through my hands, which is Reiki, which works then with the energy of the recipient. Reiki is intelligent enough when we send it to go into your energy field and rebalance the energy field. That's the best way to explain it. It actually helps to rebalance our energy field. So the chakras are in one line, and it starts from the root chakra at the bottom of your spine. Your second one will be just a few inches below your navel. The third one will be a few inches above your navel. Then you have the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye, and the crown. Those are the 7 main. We have many chakras around and inside of our body. When we're out of sync, sometimes we say, we don't feel right. That's because our energy field is out of whack. We're imbalanced. What Reiki does, it brings everything back into balance, and it brings that line again. So you feel much more in control. You feel lighter. You feel more able.
So lots of people understand Reiki to be universal life energy, and that's totally correct. However, if we get more into the actual original Chinese characters of Reiki, Reiki translates to something closer to miraculous energy or the mystical energy of the forest. The style of Reiki I practice is called Jikiden Reiki, and Jikiden just translates to direct. As soon as I saw that, having learned one kind and then not quite feeling it clicked in some way, finding Jikiden Reiki, I knew immediately this was it. You just know inside of yourself. What kind of makes Jikiden Reiki different is how we approach the body. In a lot of other styles of Reiki, they work with the chakra system. And Jikiden Reiki, because it's an effort to make things as they were originally in Japan, and because the chakra system isn't a Japanese concept, we don't have that in our treatment. Ultimately, the energy is the same, but how it's applied is different. But I think ultimately, there is so much similarity in why we all do Reiki. It's to help people, and it's to share our love for this effective energy that can really change people's lives.
When you use Reiki, you're helping someone, number one, to get into a really relaxed place. You're using your time for them. So already you're focusing on them is going to make someone feel better. They may feel listened to. As soon as you start to feel listened to and cared for, then you start to feel better. So that's just the same as how Reiki works. It's just spending some time and a good intention with someone else and giving them a caring touch. When people are together, they can feel better. If someone is having positive thoughts, they start to feel better. If someone smiles, they start to straight away they start to feel better.
When you hit your knee, what is the first thing you do? You put your hand on it. When a child is unwell, what does a mother do? She comforts the child, she rubs the child's back. To me, that's all Reiki. It's all, caring for someone. Reiki isn't only about energy. I think it really encompasses compassion for others and trying to help someone.
We're always going to be we always will have disalignment, because that's life. We go through different experiences day in, day out, some good, some bad. And those not so good experiences will kind of deflate us. Even when we become, some people come to me and all they do is give. They're like people pleasers. You know, it's nothing bad in giving. It's really good in giving. But when you give too much, what you're doing is you're actually weakening your center energy. When you weaken your center energy, this is where we give and take. You become really sensitive to other people's energies. So by strengthening your center energy through Reiki, we start to align you, we strengthen you, and I bring crystals in. I bring especially clear quartz, which is the master healer, and I place it onto your energy, on your center energy, which is your solar plexus, to help strengthen that. So when you have a strengthened center energy, and for instance, I work with stones, you wear some citrine, you become less sensitive and you become stronger, and you're not absorbing other people's energy. You feel more alive. So you can walk away from, you know, that friend who's in need, feeling like you've done a good job, you've really helped, but you're feeling good too. And many people will have that. I think 99% of us will always feel, gosh, I feel really tired after being with, you know, or might feel like, oh God, I've got to go and see XYZ or an aunt or an uncle who really drains or sucks the life out of you. We always have that one person in life. But that's because we have our energies not in sync, or we have low energy. Then you'll have people who have very high energy as well, and they're not grounded. So Reiki helps to ground you. So I always do a meditation for grounding. Reiki goes in, it works with your root chakra, and it helps to keep you grounded, rooted. Because if we're not grounded, we'll be floating energetically. That's when you feel like, do you know what? I'm here, but I'm not here. You get a lot of people say that. I feel like I'm just floating, or things are just slipping out of my hands. Or I have an interview, but I just couldn't, I wasn't there fully. And I can't help it, but I don't know what happened to me, but I wasn't fully there. You're not grounded, mate. That's all. You're just not grounded. You just need to root yourself. So Reiki goes in. I wouldn't call it, because some people think it's manipulation. It's not. You're not manipulating energy. You're actually working with energy. You're just going in there. The Reiki energy goes in there, and it helps to bring balance. It helps to realign you.
The sacral chakra, or Svadhisthana, is located just below the navel, near the lower abdomen. Associated with the color orange, it governs creativity, sensuality, pleasure, and emotions. This chakra influences our relationships with others, our ability to enjoy life, and our creative expression. A balanced sacral chakra allows for healthy emotional responses, a sense of abundance, and the capacity to experience joy and pleasure. Imbalances may manifest as emotional instability, fear of change, or sexual dysfunction.
Because we're working with the healing process, all we're doing is working with the process that is already occurring to optimize it so the body can do what it needs to do already. If we look at the name of the original treatment, Shinshin Kaizen Usui Reiki Ryoho, the Usui Reiki treatment method for improvement of body and mind. We're not aiming to cure. We are not gods. We cannot decide if someone will be better again. It's to complement everything else that we already do.
The more we can offer, or the more help I can give somebody, that makes me feel like I can sleep at night, with a smile on my face, because, it's not about just making money in this world. It's about giving and allowing other people to know what you might have experienced and what's helped you. And to see somebody coming in and crying their eyes out and their journey, and then seeing them flourishing or doing really well, it's the best thing ever. I can't explain. It's the best thing ever. I never ever thought that this was going to be my life. They call it a career. I see this more as my path, but I never thought I'd be doing this. And I'm so glad that I'm doing this, and I know that everything that I've gone through in my life has brought me to doing this, and there's a reason for it. And I just feel that, every person that you go to as a healer or a therapist, always go with your intuition as well. Because when your gut tells you something's wrong, it's wrong. When your gut tells you something's right, it's always right. So listen to yourself. That little voice is never wrong. It's almost like having a rapport with your therapist or your healer is important. Because again, that's energy. If I'm going to be working with you, our energies need to be in alignment too. So we need to be able to work well, because I need to make sure that when I'm working on you, you're at your calmest, at your best, and you're fully trusted. You trust me. And I've had people from feeling suicidal to people just having exam butterflies, It's for everyone. So, yeah, I use whatever I feel is right for my clients. I always go with what I intuitively feel is right. I feel I'm guided, which again might feel a bit woo-woo to people, but I feel like that's how I work. But I work very, very big on my intuitiveness. Like I intuitively feel, and that's what I do, and it never goes wrong. It always works out the right way. So I use a mixture of different things: sound, scent, your Reiki, crystal healing, breathing, meditation.
I have seen people who are just stressed at work, who are just not feeling themselves or just need to relax. And I've also seen people with PTSD, anxiety, depression, chronic fatigue, endometriosis, someone with a brain injury, really anything. I think a lot of people who come to Reiki, what I have observed, are people who have been down lots of different routes and are really at the end of their tether and feel like this is sort of a last resort. And they haven't maybe tried this yet. So the results are so different for everyone. I've had clients, when they come to me regularly, be able to lead much better lives because their pain is so reduced. And of course, we can never claim to heal. But of course, there's great improvements that people come for. Being able to facilitate that for someone is really incredible, because I think my focus as a practitioner is I don't want to alleviate things temporarily. I want to try and really create some kind of change inside of someone so they can lead a much happier and pain-free, better life.
So I always feel that when you put your hands on someone's head, it helps them relax in their headspace. So whatever is going on in the mind, it can really help that to relax. So if what's going on for them is anxiety or depression or just needing to feel grounded, then that's a really good place to help release that area. I've had times when I had decided I'm just going to put my hands on the heart space, and I didn't know actually, and was told afterwards that the woman that I was seeing was going to go for a heart operation. So it can be intuitive, but because I also do Chinese medicine and acupuncture, so I've kind of work a lot with the organs and the energy of those organs and what they mean. So the heart, it could be that they need help with heart palpitations or tight chestedness, and therefore you'd go more into the heart space. Or it could be the kidneys, which is absorbing fear. So maybe you'd feel the lower back, and the lower back might feel quite cold. So you'd create some more warmth in the lower back. So there's different areas, the lungs and the chest as well. So you could work with that. Or it could be that it's the liver. So you'd be going onto the torso, the size of the torso, where the liver can be stored. There could be a bit of anger, emotion stored there. Or it may just need detoxification or something. So there's certain places, but sometimes I don't just follow a pattern. I just decide, well, I don't even decide. I just allow that to happen. And then if I'm going to the feet, or the knee, sometimes I don't even know why, but maybe afterwards we'd have a conversation and something might come out like, oh, I've got some knee pain there, or something's happening. Or if a patient has come because they have some kind of pain in the body, then I would place my hands in that area as well.
So when I'm working with a client who has problems with their throat, it's really, really important in looking at all of the energy field and seeing where else is there a block. Because you could have a blocked throat chakra because of a blocked sacral, for instance. So you're holding a lot of deep-rooted emotions that are sitting in your sacral, And when they move up and come out, because they want to come out, you're not releasing it, you're keeping it in your throat, which can then cause a throat chakra blockage.
It's really about targeting the areas you sense to have the biggest blockage. And rather than working on loads of areas at once in a treatment, it's better to work on one or two big areas well. Yeah, quality over quantity is how I approach. Because then you're getting the strongest response because you're working on the areas that need it most. We have holistic system. So maybe someone comes with shoulder pain, but they have back pain as well. Maybe the whole treatment, I need to stay on the lower back. As a result, the body then removes those toxins and blockages through various different ways. And because the body was overcompensating because the back was weak, the shoulder pain was caused by that. So shoulder pain may also improve. For example, if someone has a cold or a flu, it's best to treat the stomach area because the stomach is all about immunity. But ultimately, the treatment is led by the sensations in the hands. So we don't necessarily have this point works on this and this point works for this. But as you say, can it be anywhere? Yes. Maybe you look around the body and you find a particular area you haven't found before. That's where the learning is. Even now, every treatment, I always learn something different.
The solar plexus chakra, or Manipura, is situated in the upper abdomen around the stomach area. Represented by the color yellow, it is the center of personal power, self-esteem, and confidence. This chakra influences our willpower, autonomy, and metabolic processes. A balanced Manipura chakra enables assertiveness, decision-making, and a strong sense of self-worth. When out of balance, it can lead to feelings of powerlessness, low self-esteem, or issues with digestion.
Personally, when a client comes to see me, in their initial visit, they will always get a form to fill in. In that form, you have just your basic details, anything that they want to discuss with me, as in ailments that they may have, etc. But also at the end is a consent. So they're consenting me that they're allowing me to perform Reiki. Reiki is hands-on and hands-off. So when we do hands-on, you're sort of touching the head, the shoulders, the stomach. Of course, there are areas that we do not touch. When we're working with the root chakra, for instance, we would then touch the feet. The feet connect with the root chakra.
I think the first thing I preface is that I have no control over the results. And that's honestly the first thing I preface. Someone comes in and I say, I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea how you're going to respond, because ultimately we're not, as I explained before, we're not doing anything to the body. Particularly when you're working with someone with trauma, in order to get to a place that trauma can fully be released or processed, sometimes that person really needs to have a lot of trust that there's no judgment in the space, that anything can be shared. I have, confidentiality policy that is signed at the beginning of the treatment when we first start working together. And we also, have a form that you need to fill out agreeing to certain things that, you've agreed that I'm not claiming to be able to cure you. It's a complementary therapy. You really want to help someone. You really want to improve someone's life. And I think, as soon as someone starts to get comfortable with being vulnerable with you, the light can start to get in, and I think often a lot of people, when they come to me and they're really not okay, what they need first is a good cry, and I think we all need a good cry now and then, it's perfectly normal. And I think Reiki is about normalizing these processes. That's part of the natural healing process.
So every client has to fill in a consent form, and then I will explain what happens in the treatment so that they feel safe. Let them know that they can leave at any time, they can stop at any time, that They may feel sensations in the body. So it's just guidelines to making them feel safe, to understand what's going to happen in treatment. Also, I make sure that they know that I can't heal them, that only they can help transform themselves. I can help along the way, but if anyone's coming for something like cancer, say, then they can't expect just to be healed straight away. So it's just being informative of what can happen in the treatment.
Confidentiality, it's really important, because when a client steps into my practice, what they talk to me about doesn't go anywhere else. That's very, very important, because there are certain things that they do share with me that is very confidential. So it's really important that they know that this isn't going to go anywhere else. Sometimes I do have clients that come in that are celebrities or well-known figures. Again, they don't want anyone to know that they've come to see me, so we respect that as well. So there's many aspects of that where it comes to sort of just generally who they are, and also the way I practice as well, keeping the space clean, keeping my space calm, because I think that's really important as well. So these are the basic, I think, boundaries and etiquettes that one should anyway have when you're working.
The heart chakra, or anahata, is located in the center of the chest, near the heart. It is associated with the color green and is the bridge between the lower chakras, related to physicality, and the upper chakras, related to spirituality. This chakra governs love, compassion, empathy, and forgiveness. A balanced heart chakra allows for harmonious relationships, emotional healing, and the ability to give and receive love unconditionally. Blockages can lead to feelings of loneliness, bitterness, or difficulty in relationships.
I've had people come to me saying, do you know, I have a lot of problems in my stomach and I'm not quite sure. The doctors can't find out why. Okay, I pick up on their energy and understand them. Have you had any childhood trauma? Or has something happened or growing up with you? And normally 99.9% something's happened. It doesn't have to be a massive traumatic event. It can be a number of small things, or it can be a big thing. But usually when you have problems or blockages in your sacral, which is in the stomach area, it's because that's one of the lowest points where your energy field is holding negative energy or stuck energy. So what Reiki does again when we do Reiki healing is we go there and we start to unpick, unravel, and start to release. But when we're doing healing, we can only release this way. Energy can only come out this way. It can never go out the other way. When we breathe, why do we say when we breathe the spine needs to be straight? We breathe in, we breathe out, but if that line is not straight, it's not going to come out, is it? So energy has to come out this way. So when we're working with energy, we look at, as a Reiki master, what I would look at with my client is, where is my client blocked? If my client's blocked here in the sacral and also in the heart or throat, I would look at first healing this part, so that when we start unraveling the energy that's stuck further down, it's an easy transition for it to come out. So that's kind of like how not with everyone, but that's how I kind of work with Reiki. Giving in Reiki, it'll only give a client or the recipient what they need on the day and moving forward. You can never give too much, you can never give too less. It's intelligent, it'll go where it needs to go. But it literally goes in and it alters your state, because it goes in and starts releasing, moving out what you don't need and aligning all the energy again. And that's when people start to feel, I can feel something, but I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. And you don't need to explain how you feel. If you haven't got the words, it's fine, so long as you're feeling something. And it's a guarantee when you have Reiki that you will feel something. There is no way that anyone cannot feel. If you're having pain, where does that pain stem from? If you're feeling that you are emotionally distraught, where is that coming from? So the way I work is I like to look at the root cause, because I believe that if we can find the root cause, and we can then use Reiki healing, crystal healing, and whatever I do to help start to remove that blocked energy, it's going to then work on a longer effect, because then we're really working what actually is causing it. Because if you can get rid of the cause, you're not going to have the problem. So that's kind of my theory of how I do Reiki. It's not just you come in, you have a session and you go away. It's more like therapy. You come in, we talk about your problems, we talk about you. I pick up on your energy and understand who you are energetically. Then I bring in Reiki. And then Reiki is the magic that goes in and helps to align and helps to then go where it needs to go to help to heal.
As practitioners and as humans, we have the ability to draw this energy in and project it out of all areas of our bodies. The hands are one of the areas that the energy is most intensified. So, what happens when I place my hands on myself or someone else is that the energy starts to flow completely unconsciously, independent of my will. For me, it's not an intuitive kind of experience. It's a very physical experience, and the physical sensations, which can be very, very intense, tell me what's going on in the body. So it's really a listening process. We're listening and ultimately getting out of the way so the body and nature can do what it does best. If someone is not very well and you give them Reiki, because the toxicity in the body is higher, you detect that more. So then you can tell if the problem is bad. And generally, someone who is unwell receiving Reiki will have a much stronger response to the energy, because how I view it is the energy is flowing into the body, and because there's a blockage, toxicity, the energy is hitting against a greater mass inside of someone. So then the intensity of the treatment is much more intense. Particularly, if someone is, frail and not very well, because the body's healing system is really, taking in lots of energy and trying to nourish itself to begin working properly again, it can provoke some quite strong responses in people. It's important to remember, I think, that it's not me who is healing. I am merely a channel, a funnel. It's really what is working through me that does the healing. So it's not, I'm not the healer, the energy is, and the person's body is the healer.
I feel really relaxed. I feel in a good space. I feel like I'm in a kind of hypnotic space in a way. And but sometimes I can feel some tightness. I might actually sometimes feel it in my own body. So I might feel that I've got tightness in my chest, or in my stomach or something. And so then I think, okay, maybe I will try that area, like something will happen. I'll just, maybe I'll go for that area in my client. So there's different, it depends who comes. Sometimes if someone's energy is quite strong or blocked in a way, then sometimes I can feel that sometimes in my body.
I feel differently every single time, because whoever you're working with will bring in their energy, of course. So when I'm actually doing Reiki, the best way to explain is when I'm actually putting my hands a few inches above the recipient's body to feel the energy field, I can sometimes feel burning, I can feel cold, I can feel a pull. I sometimes feel certain energy that might feel, this doesn't feel good. I can feel a rush of almost like energy going, so it's like really fast. I feel so many different things because I usually close my eyes and I sometimes can see things.
Sometimes you can get messages and that type of thing for someone, but I would say that's not Reiki. That's maybe different ability. As Reiki is really about the energy. So, but that sometimes does happen, although it's important to preface that is something separate.
I pick up on people's energy even when they're standing on the other side of the room very quickly. So I have to really protect myself, especially with the work that I do. I have people come to see me every single day with awful things that happen. And it's important for me not to take that on because I have to be able to help them and give them Reiki. So that's one thing that I have to do to protect myself. But I feel all sorts of feelings. I feel sadness when I'm doing Reiki sometimes because I'm feeling their sadness. I can feel a lot of the times my throat gets affected. So when someone has a lot of negative or blocked energy, sometimes it will affect my throat. So I will start to cough and I have to sip on water so I can feel a lot in my throat. Sometimes I get headaches, so I know that it's all coming out. Sometimes I feel a lot of pain in my arm because when I'm sending the energy, I can feel their energy. I can feel a lot of pain in my arm or my hand. So I have all sorts of different feelings, but it doesn't affect me because I protect myself, so I'm not absorbing. But I can feel something from being teary-eyed to feeling overjoyed with them. There's so many different emotions, but also physically, I can feel so many different things as well when I'm doing a session with people.
The throat chakra, or Vishuddha, is located at the throat and is associated with the color blue. It governs communication, self-expression, and truth. This chakra enables us to articulate thoughts and feelings clearly and authentically. A balanced Vishuddha chakra fosters effective communication, honesty, and the ability to listen. When imbalanced, it can cause issues such as difficulty expressing oneself, fear of speaking, or social anxiety.
I bring in crystals with my Reiki, and I bring it in a big way because I believe that crystal healing can really elevate Reiki healing, because crystals are energy that come from the earth. So they all are bringing out different energy from each different crystal. So you may be drawn to a particular piece, but that's your energy wanting to work with the energy of the crystal. That's why it comes together. That's why it's so important when we choose crystals, choosing the right ones. So I bring in crystals because when we bring in crystals, it brings another layer to the Reiki energy. It heightens the energy, I believe. It actually makes it very powerful. Everything that I do, or I believe other healers probably do as well, when we're bringing in crystals, for instance, acupuncture, for instance, it's all about bringing balance. The whole reason of every single therapy that we're doing is bringing balance, bringing alignment. So the end game is the same. It's just different tools and techniques. But what everyone wants to achieve at the end of it really is alignment. When we're aligned, we're at our best. We're at our most powerful being then. And I also believe that every single being, every single person will respond differently to different techniques and different therapies. So you may have somebody that, would respond really well with Reiki, and even better with Reiki and crystals. But you may have another being who responds so well with Reiki, but just doesn't feel that they need the crystals, or just doesn't feel the crystals. They don't need it because their energy of Reiki is enough for them. There might be somebody I bring in scent, aroma Reiki, I call it. The reason I bring in scent and it's put on pulse areas is because, for instance, when a client, and this is not for everyone, but it's something if somebody wants. But it works really well because when we have Reiki, our eyes are closed. So when we use scent, it actually works with all our senses. And certain scent can actually help you to feel really calm, really, really calm. And I've also found that scent can actually take you somewhere as well, which can really help you to feel relaxed. And the more relaxed you are, the more powerful the Reiki or the healing will be, because you're more receptive, you're more open, you'll receive better. When you're tense and someone's trying to perform Reiki, especially in the first session, because you don't know this person, and you're kind of lying there and allowing them, it is very, very, I find it very personal, because it's quite intimate, because you're actually allowing someone else into your energetic space. So it's so important that we bring in the right energies for that person to allow them to feel so calm, so safe, and so open, so that when they actually do come out of that session, they feel healed.
Reiki, Rei and Ki meaning universal source, and Ki meaning energy. So Ki and Chi are the same thing. And in Eastern medicine, Qi is your universal light force. So as I studied Chinese medicine and acupuncture, it's the same universal light force in Reiki that is used in acupuncture. So anyone can put needles in someone and maybe know exactly what needles need to go where, but without the power of being in a Wu Wei state, a state of meditation and having an intention, then I don't know if that's going to work or not, because that's what I believe, that you need to have that intention and you need to be in that place. I think that it's very important in Reiki that you're in a good place to give the Reiki or to help a patient receive that Reiki. So it's going into that meditative state and having an intention for someone else. And it's as pure as that. May this person be well, or may this person be well in a certain area. Say if it's in Chinese medicine, whatever they've come for acupuncture, then being in that state of meditation, really grounded, and giving that intention of may this person be well in or with their migraines or something like that, then that's where Reiki would work. The same if I'm using it in sound healing. I'd sometimes go into a meditation and I would use symbols as well in Reiki. So I think of these symbols that I've learnt while I'm grounding, making sure that I'm doing a kind of grounded practice maybe 10 minutes before I start the treatment, so that I feel that I am in that place, so that I don't have other thoughts and I'm purely concentrating on what's going on.
When I do my healings, I also bring in sound. So I use a sound bowl, I use a sound fork. Sound comes in different frequencies. So again, when your eyes are closed and you hear sound, the sound, which is frequency, can actually ground you. It can actually make you feel so much more calmer. I don't know if you've heard of sound baths. People have sound baths now where you're lying down and you have all of these sound bowls and they're playing it. Literally, you're bathed in it because it actually helps to take away a lot of negative energy and ground you. So I use sound sometimes. Sometimes I actually use the bowl on the person. So I place it on their tummy and play the bowl, and you can actually feel that vibration.
So I started looking at more ancient, because I'm quite interested in ancient traditions and where sound and instruments were used for healing. And I realised I had a Tibetan bowl at home, which was a fruit bowl. And I explored then working with it. And I decided, this is really interesting. I'm going to do a little course on Tibetan sound healing bowls. And when I was doing this course, I actually had some pain. I had a really bad menstrual pain, which I never really had much of, but at that time I did. And I was also waiting for my boiler to be fixed. I spent the whole day hanging around. So I decided I'm just going to stick this bowl on my stomach and I'm going to use it. And I just felt clearer, and I've never had any pain since I've used this bowl. So it's been quite amazing. So then I bought a few more bowls and found it very interesting just how it can change the whole energy in the room. Even I play sometimes with my children in the house and everything goes really calm. My dog absolutely gets into a relaxed state and comes over and lies down next to the bowls. And so now I use the bowls and people book me for a one-to-one sound healing. And at the end of the session, they've been astonished at how amazing they feel, especially when it comes to a lot of people that come with stress and anxiety. And what I've explored as well is that the sounds and the vibrations can change the frequencies in the body.
Sometimes I use a sound fork, which is made out of quartz, and you place the fork onto a certain chakra, maybe the third eye, maybe the heart, and you play the fork on there and you actually feel a vibration in your body. And what that actually does, it allows any stagnant energy to break down and it starts to bring movement again. So I use sound as well, and I think sound healing is so big and it's so powerful, and it's really great to use it when we're doing Reiki as well. So that's one thing I also do bring in, is sound therapy as well. But again, it's not for everyone. There's so many different things. You can bring acupuncture into this, you can bring massage. I mean, I used to do Indian head massage. Massage brings touch brings energy. Even when you don't touch, there's energy, you know. But when you're bringing your Reiki energy into touch and you're giving a massage, you're just pushing that energy in, allowing the energy field to receive. So there's massage you can bring in, as I say, scent you can bring in crystals. I also bring in breathing techniques, because I believe that the first thing for anyone to allow themselves to feel calm is to breathe. It's free. It's something I think a lot of people forget. And I can guarantee you that most of us, in fact every single person, doesn't breathe properly every day. And I can guarantee that most people stop breathing for seconds in the day as well. When we're stressed, we stop breathing. You know, when you have to, if you're running for a bus or something, you stop breathing for a second. When we actually stop breathing, you die, right? That person wasn't breathing. They stopped breathing, all of a sudden, they're dead. So what you're doing when you're not breathing daily for those tiny, tiny seconds is that you're slowly killing yourself. People don't realize this. You actually are. Because when you're not breathing properly, it sends a signal to the brain that then sends a signal to all of your body and your energy saying something's not right. So everything then is alert, right? Everything is working on much more higher levels, and your stress then comes in, and you then end up having a panic attack or anxiety. And when you're having anxiety and it comes into a panic attack, that's when your stress is at its most. But that's just because your body is closing in, because you're not breathing properly. So what do? You close your eyes and you focus on your breath. If you focus on your breath, you can calm your body down, you can calm your mind down, you calm your energy down. That is why, for me, the first thing that I tell my clients is we need to start breathing properly. So there are different techniques that I offer to my clients that help them so they can go away and they can do this daily, and it helps them to stay in check with their breath. It helps them to bring in even 15 minutes of a technique of breathing that I give them. Because when we're actually breathing properly, your breath is coming, you're more aligned. And breathing properly can then open up the energy field and allow anything that's negative out. And that's why when we start to do a session, we bring in a little bit of breathing before we do Reiki, so that we're relaxed and we're open to allow Reiki energy to go in. I believe it's really important to bring in other things with Reiki, because if you can bring in something that's going to make it more elevated and help them heal better or heal more or more impactful, then you should do it. But I always do it according to what the energy of my client needs on the day. because every time you come in, you'll come in with a different energy. So we adapt and we work that way. So yeah, it's great to bring in other tools. I'm pretty sure there are people who just swear by Reiki, and absolutely fine, because just Reiki itself is impactful. But even when somebody just performs Reiki, they will tell you to breathe. They will tell you to take a few deep breaths. They will calm you down by touch. They might touch your feet to ground you. So really, there is something else going on there, but it's not specified that way. It's just that I'm doing Reiki on you. So it does involve other things, and I think it should, because it makes it so individual and unique for that person. Because when we're not breathing properly, we feel we are losing control. And when we feel we are losing control, that's when the panic kicks in, and that's when people have anxiety, stress, and all the other things that come with it. So it's just about breathing properly. If we can breathe properly, I believe half the battle's won.
Reiki can be used alongside anything, including medicine. It's complementary to everything. So mindfulness, absolutely. And by receiving a Reiki treatment, it may, you may find you become more mindful, maybe because you just have some more peace of mind, because you're tapping into that place of peace that we all have inside of us. In terms of acupuncture, of course, acupuncture is slightly different. It works with the meridian lines. In Reiki, we're not doing that. We're working with something different, but we're still working with energy and working with the system of the body. So, because the actual baseline of what Reiki does, it works with the natural healing process. There are no contraindications, There's sometimes misunderstanding that maybe if someone has a pacemaker, you wouldn't be allowed to receive Reiki. And this just comes from a misunderstanding of how the energy works and how the body, what we're working with. If we're working with the natural healing process, there are no contraindications to Reiki. So you can add it into your yoga practice, you can add it into your work practice, you can add it into everything, and it will benefit and I feel personally amplify whatever you're doing.
The third eye chakra, or ajna, is located between the eyebrows and is associated with the color indigo. It is the center of intuition, insight, and spiritual awareness. This chakra governs our ability to see the bigger picture, access inner wisdom, and trust our instincts. A balanced ajna chakra enhances clarity of thought, psychic abilities, and spiritual perception. Imbalances may result in confusion, lack of focus, or difficulty trusting one's intuition.
More than the future, I think now as well, Reiki has been now, it is introduced in the NHS, so it's recognised. Yeah. So, it's in hospitals now, so that speaks for itself. That, the medical sort of side of it are now asking for Reiki practitioners to come in and do Reiki on patients. So I think that itself speaks for the future. So I think really for the future, for it to be understood more and maybe used more, is the awareness. I think this needs to be more awareness, and there isn't enough, or there isn't enough on the right platforms. That's the best way to explain it, because no matter where you go, you're always going to get the, people who are skeptical and are going to fight against and say, well, it's not there's no evidence. Well, yes, there isn't evidence, but people are, healing from it. And even if people think, well, actually, you know what, it's all, it's not actually doing anything, and it's more like you're just, feeling it. It's not doing anything. Then you know what? If that's the case as well, if it's actually helping someone, then why not? Through Reiki, we're not cutting into your body. We're not, we're not opening anything. Well, energetically we are, but we're not leaving any scars. We're not doing anything. We're not putting a tablet into your mouth. It's just energy. And if you can, try it, then you can feel it. I can tell you that there is not one person in today's world that doesn't deal with stress, right? So you have a choice of trying something that can help you energetically feel less stress, or by stressing even more and then having to like have medical problems or having to pop pills in your mouth. And I think people are becoming more aware of this, and people are taking more time off work or sort of balancing work life. You hear that a lot now because though people recognize that they need to slow down.
I think I would love to see Reiki more involved in medicine, and it is, it's being involved particularly in hospice care and cancer care. It's involved with that type of thing, and sometimes recommended. I would really love to see it more involved in medicine because it works so well. It can really, because Reiki relies on a sense of touch. In my treatment, I physically touch the body. Of course, the energy aspect is happening, but there's something physically about being touched. In today's society, I think we are distant from non-sexual physical touch. It's becoming, particularly with COVID, wearing masks, I feel sometimes non-sexual physical touch is maybe becoming a bit of a taboo sometimes. We're meant to be in tandem. When we see children playing, they're like playing in the dirt, they're touching each other, and I think, sometimes when we get to adulthood, we can get a bit icked out by, interacting with people.
I think that everyone is starting to realise that we're not just in a square box, and Western medicine is amazing and can really help, but it's quite modern, and a lot of it is medication, and medication can have a lot of side effects. And I think people are realising now that they can't access Western medicine so much, or medication, that they're starting to look a little bit further, and they're realising that there are other ways of healing. I found it's become really popular over the last 2 or 3 years. Maybe it's something to do with the COVID, that people weren't able to go and see a doctor, that they've started to explore, what else can I do for myself? And I think that's given a big change because it's now everywhere. I'm amazed at how many Reiki practitioners there are available, and healing practitioners. I think it's getting bigger, and younger people are more interested in alternative, and it shouldn't really be alternative. It should be interesting and diverse, creative ways of looking after themselves. And that's how, and it's free. It's free. It's amazing. So I think it's the way forward.
I really wish people understood how effective this treatment is, because it really is life-changing. And I also wish, people understood how natural it is. I understand often complementary therapies like this can be demonized as being somehow dangerous, when in actuality I think this is about empowerment, and it's about bringing people out of fear, and it's ultimately about opening your heart, both as a practitioner and as a receiver.
So I think, it's really, really important that people understand the misconception of that you have to be a certain way or in a certain path in your life to get these things done. You don't. You can have a little bit of faith, that's all. Be a little bit open. Even if you don't have faith, be open and just say, you know what, I'm just going to give it a try. Probably won't do anything. Surprise yourself. You might be surprised. Reiki might not be for you, but crystal healing might be. Crystal healing might not be for you, but acupuncture might be. That might not be for you, but meditation might be. I have so many people come to me who've been in therapy and they talk to counsellors and it doesn't do it for them because it's not going deeper. They want something that's going to go deeper. And that's what Reiki does. That's what crystals do. That's what meditation does. It's forcing you to go in. And yes, it's a little bit scary because when I tell a client, well, we're going to go in there and we're going to start to unpack things, it is scary because you think, I'm going to lose control and I won't be able to do this. But you know what? We have to go there. A healing journey is about going there and allowing yourself to be witness and to feel certain things that you felt and didn't like in order to let them out. You'll feel it, but once it's out, you feel so much better, and then we fill that energy up with good stuff so that you can then move forward and you can start doing the things you want to do that you were holding you back.
I was just reading something by a Christian charity about Reiki and how it's the work of the devil. So if somebody wants to help someone else and gives them a hug, or your mother holds your knee because you've hurt it, and usually if you have pain, you'll put your hand on it, and straight away that helps you feel better. A hug definitely helps anyone feel better. So there's no science. We can't measure whether Reiki worked or not. That a lot of people don't believe it, and then it starts to become witchcraft, because when you can't when you can't actually put a scientific evaluation on something, all of a sudden people are scared.
Again, not so much now, but some people think it's woo-woo, which is, a funny word. And I think, you know what, you don't have to be sat on a mountain with smoke coming out of your ears to actually think, I need Reiki.
But now they're actually quantum physics. And there's a woman called Lynn McTaggart who's challenging this from the other side. And she's amazing and saying, well, actually, quantum physics can prove that Reiki works, that setting an intention works.
I think the misconceptions of what it is stops people from trying it. And there's a lot of people I've met who I feel could really benefit from this. I think healthy skepticism is understandable. And I think, when I first started, I was actually skeptical as well. And through experience, that has changed.
I mean, I had once somebody come in and they started to strip down. I was like, what are you doing? You don't need to take your clothes off, because some people think you have to, because they relate it to a massage for some reason. It's nothing to do with a massage. In fact, Reiki can be done without even touching someone. We can send Reiki. I can be on the other side of the world, which I do, and send distant healing. Again, that's something we learn through our masters, is the symbols to send healing, because energy can be sent. So you don't have to take your clothes off. You can be fully clothed. You don't actually have to be here. But I do believe, and I feel it's nice to have a hands-on session and be there, because it's more interactive. I can pick up on my clients' energy and maybe offer them something else. So I think having a session in practice is nicer, because you have all the other things that go around it. I like to start my sessions to understand my client and let them talk and let them almost like let their steam off, let them speak, let them just tell me how it is. And then I do that after as well. And that really helps so many people. So, Reiki isn't just like a massage or getting your nails done. It's much more deeper. It does affect your emotions. It does affect you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, because it goes in and it starts to cleanse and it starts to align you.
If you've got a good intention, then you can't do any harm. It's not possible. So if the intention's there, then yes. But yeah, it's the same with acupuncture. It was in the NHS, then they couldn't afford it. But now what happens is that GPs will say that if they can't do anything, they go, have you tried acupuncture? Then people come to us. So I run a low-cost clinic as well in Bethnal Green. They come to us because it's the last resort, and then they realise, oh, actually, you can help. Wow, it's just knowing. Again, it's what you know. Again, it's then the pharmaceutical industry will not have as much money, and people may actually start looking after themselves a bit more as well, rather than just masking it with, that's a big thing for me, because I see it happening, and I just think, and I see a lot of young people now on antidepressants, or my daughter's friends and everything, and I'm just like, wow. And that's just because maybe there was something else that you could have done first, or you're not being listened to. There's not enough support out there. So it's easy to just go, okay, we'll just have this.
If we implement something like this in our life, we're reducing our stress. It all comes back down to stress. It all comes back down to how we are living now. And I think everyone's on that rat race. Everyone's rushing to get things done, rushing to make money, to find the next best thing. Everything's at a flick of a finger. It's all fast. And I think Reiki helps you to slow down, helps you to go in and align and just notice things. And I think, it's really, really important that people understand that, you can be a high flyer, but have you stopped in the day to just see how you're breathing? Or are you going to go home and take another pill to help you sleep?
The crown chakra, or Sahasrara, is located at the top of the head and is associated with the color violet or white. It represents the highest state of consciousness, spiritual connection, and enlightenment. This chakra is the gateway to the divine, universal energy, and higher states of being. A balanced crown chakra allows for a sense of unity, wisdom, and peace. When blocked, it can lead to feelings of disconnection, spiritual crisis, or a lack of purpose. However, imbalances in Sahasrara can manifest as feelings of isolation, disconnection, or existential angst, underscoring the importance of cultivating a harmonious energy flow throughout all the chakras to support holistic well-being. As we journey through each of the chakras, from the grounding energy of the root chakra to the expansive consciousness of the crown, we are invited to embrace our spiritual essence and the interconnectedness of all life, thus achieving a state of complete harmony and enlightenment.